Jordan Rossetti with us here on the John Mendola Show, track coach here in Carbondale area. Of course, you got Kate over there who's doing great things.
Oh, yeah.
Talk a little bit about your role and what you try to do there with the track and field program.
So my program's mainly the jumps, but I'm here to help Coach Kyrie Johnson out a lot. When he can't make it down to anything, or if he's running late, I'll hop in, take over my role. He's actually the head coach, but we don't really see each other as head or assistants. It's just we're coaches together, getting everything situated with the girls and events. It's like a whole full-time job.
Your dad, Tim, passed away last year.
Yes.
And a tremendous persona there in Carbondale. Talk a little bit about, hearing stories, running into people and just saying, man, I loved your dad, or, he really did a lot of good things. I'm sure you hear those stories often.
I actually, I heard one at districts. Right before he passed away, we ran into his track coach, Coach Casey. He retired with Western Wayne last season. But I always asked him, I said, hey, Coach, did my dad really run 49 or 50? He said, oh, yeah. I said, so he's not lying to me. And then Joby Fawcett, I always hear stories. The one I always hear is how, I forget if it was at Lakeland or Carbondale, but they were running against each other. My dad went down to use the bathroom, and Joby took his one jump like he always does and said, hey, I'm going to pass on the next two because Tim's not up here. And then my dad came out of nowhere and beat him, and Joby tried to get his other two jumps, and they said, well, you already passed. You can't get them. So I just hear a lot about everything. Even when I share stuff on Facebook from Joby, like I had a pole vaulter that was, she broke the record. I've had multiple pole vaulters actually tie that record that was standing for so long.
Yep.
And every time I say, I just say, hey, another record down. People just comment like, your dad was a great man. Like, you're doing great things. So proud of you. So it's nice to hear those things.
Talk about the values that you took from him, or things you can think about that, like, hey, this is gonna live on for another generation here, because that was such an important message from my dad.
So honestly, the biggest thing I could say is he always gave a speech at the beginning of the year like, hey, if you're not the best, that's fine, but the only way you could actually be the best is to go out, be here every day, be committed. And I think actually a lot of our girl athletes who are fully dedicated, they show it, and that's really the biggest value I've took. And just being there for the not just the girls program, but the whole team. So help out the boys and everything. I love it. Grew up on Carbondale's track, and I'm still here.
Forest City, kind of limited in their sports. Obviously, it's a very small school, but it's nice that there's some kind of arrangement. You get some of those athletes, and somebody like Kate, who is a star. Talk a little bit about seeing her and watching her develop.
Oh, so actually, when she was a freshman, I was up at Abington Heights coaching the throws. But I would always go down to practice after Abington, talk with my dad, hang out, talk with Coach Johnson. It was just fun, watching her from even junior high. She was phenomenal, broke all kinds of records there, just to come up, and then she's following her siblings' footsteps as well, who broke records, just kept setting records. But she's just fantastic, just watching everything she does, her workouts. I try to write them down whenever I can, but I actually have to ask her, when we came in, I was like, hey, how do you structure your workouts? So it's nice having an athlete who is labeled as an elite athlete to always look to and say, hey, you want to be a leader for the team? And she always steps up, so it's great.
Talk about trying to help with the program and make it, contagious. We're talking about Kate, get somebody at that level, like, hey, we want to see somebody else who does good stuff, or you're going to do good stuff. But it's going to start with young kids. It's going to start with getting 7th and 8th graders, or 9th graders for that matter, interested, and then keeping them around for 4 years as a 9th grader, saying, hey, maybe you could go, run a 2-minute mile on the 800, and that could be great for us.
So we actually, what I do a lot is I say, hey guys, look at Kate. Some people get the way she does her workouts. She does a separate workout because she just benefits more from it with the intensity training. She does a lot of high intensity runs. One day I think she ran 6 400s 2 days before me, and proceeded to win 400, 800, and then anchored the 4x4 with a 57. I believe it was 57-62 split. So I always say, hey, we got to get you to this level. Try to focus, play as many sports as you can, but try to focus on the one you're best at, is what I try to do and tell them to actually get better.
because I remember my comment. I think I said a 2-minute mile. I think I meant a 2-minute
Yeah.
800. Out of
Yeah.
my mind. That would be incredible.
Yeah, which we were just talking this week because she's practicing for nationals now, obviously. So it's nice to. I was like, hey, like next year for the 400, you want to come out of blocks? And she said, yeah, definitely. She actually asked before states. I was like, if it's not broke, we're not fixing it right now.
Sure, right.
But her goal, I think, for us next year is to run around 210. For nationals, her goal is 212, which is going to be very impressive to watch. And I was just telling her I'm more nervous, I think, than her for nationals.
Well, it's great catching up with you, talking a little bit about Carbondale, your
Oh, yeah.
dad, the program, and talking about Kate, who we're going to talk to momentarily. But we appreciate your time.
Oh, of course. Thank you so much for having me.